Welcome to MMT Chats. This episode is brought to you by ISCAR with new ideas for machining intelligently. Hey MMT followers, I'm Christina Fuges with MoldMaking Technology, and my guests today on this MMT chat are Isaac Wier and Ben Johnson of Superior Tooling in Wake Forest, North Carolina. Both of these guys are made MMT's 30 under 30 honoree list. So I got two of them this time. It is Ben, hello Ben, and Isaac.
Hi.
So first I got to say congratulations, of course. And I've been asking everybody, so I don't know, maybe I'll alternate. We'll start off with Ben for this one. How does it feel to not just be nominated, but out of 30, I got a lot of nominations. I had to narrow it down to 30. So both of you got picked for the 30. So how does it make you feel?
It was a bit surreal. This opportunity was brought up by my boss, and I said I would love to jump on that, and it actually happening is quite amazing.
That's awesome. How about you, Isaac?
Yeah, I feel honored. It's great. Not really sure what all this entails, but I know I'm pretty excited.
So look, this is a good opportunity for me to say that. So back in 2018. We had our first 30 under 30, and it really came out of, which you guys might or may not know, a lot of people think like people are retiring, right, and leaving the industry. It's only getting older. So there's always that conversation of younger people aren't coming into the industry. So in 2018, I set out to kind of highlight that is not the case. People are coming into mold manufacturing. So it was that. So I waited a couple years and we decided to do it again. I got even more of a response this time. So it's just really kind of to energize and to highlight. We ask industry to nominate people that they think are making an impact, right, in their job that revolves around mold making on some level. I have people all kinds of job titles that are represented in this top 30. So that's what this is all about. So it is a big congratulations because somebody thinks that you're worthy, that you stand out for what you're doing. So it's a good thing. So why don't we get into that? So Isaac, why don't you start with what your current position is? What do you do every day?
Well, right now I'm an apprentice, so I just do whatever they tell me to do. Right now I'm running CNC lathes. I'm running that kind of department right now, doing that. I used to run 5-axis machines, doing running that milling stuff.
Yeah. And how about you, Ben?
I am a journeyman mold maker. I've actually graduated the apprenticeship program that Isaac is in right now.
Okay.
And I am currently running the sinker EDM machines and the wire EDM machines.
Okay, nice. All right, so to give people that are listening a snapshot, kind of how you got to where you are. We'll start with you, Ben, this time. I want to give people just kind of your background, like how did you grow up? Was there an interest in manufacturing from a young age? Anybody in your family? What is your school history and any other job history? So give us a little taste of who you are that way so we can understand how you ended up here.
Yeah, I don't know if there was necessarily much of an interest in manufacturing from an early age, but there was always an interest in figuring out how things worked. The mechanisms that made up all the things that I used in my daily life. I've had people in my family who have worked in engineering and different manufacturing jobs. Nobody has worked in the mold making industry in my family, though. In high school, I had a engineering teacher who every time I would walk past his class on the hall daily, he would go, "Ben, have you heard about this program? Join it. Go join this apprenticeship program." And eventually he got me to do it, and I'm very thankful for that. It's
Nice.
been a great thing for me.
So you had somebody kind of push you in a direction, but a common theme, I will tell you, whether you're female or male, everybody kind of has that sense of wanting to use their hands and wanting to figure things out. That's from an early age. So that's interesting. So Isaac, how about you?
Basically exactly what Ben was saying. The NCTAPP, North Carolina Triangle Apprenticeship Program, came to my high school, and it just kind of got all the juniors together and said, here's this opportunity that you have. It's zero risk for you and nothing but rewards. So I just decided to join that because I knew I didn't want to go to exactly to a 4-year college. So this was like a nice little way to get into manufacturing. And I had no idea what manufacturing was until later in my high school years. So it was kind of a blessing.
So nobody in your family is involved in it. See, that's good for people to hear too. That it's not just, a lot of people think that too, right? It's just passed on, right? That manufacturing gene. When really there's a job, there's all kinds of ways to work within this community too. That's what's, I don't think it's out there enough either. People have one thing in their head if they know anything at all about it. So I think it's refreshing to know people that don't know anything have fallen into this career. So Isaac, what would you say has been the top or your number one challenge so far during this apprenticeship?
I guess a big challenge would be just learning all the new different kind of programs we run, different kind of softwares, keeping up with all the just different machines that we run and stuff. It's just kind of a lot of information all at once. And it's just kind of, you sit down and look back and surround yourself with smart people. It makes it a lot easier.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good quote. Very good. How about you, Ben?
Very much in the same vein. The influx of just all this new technology that I learned very quickly coming into this trade, keeping track of everything and keeping separate the different pieces of the different areas in the shop and running different machines and things like that.
So what would you say, Ben, has been your most proud moment so far?
I think moving up in the ranks and being invited to at our company, we have mold kickoff meetings where all the heads of the department and major people who have different roles in the development and creation of this mold get together and they talk about the different things that are going to need to happen and how things are going to need to be ordered and the way that this mold is going to move through the shop as it gets completed. And I have been invited to a couple of those meetings and it's very nice.
It's like you're in the inner circle all of a sudden.
Yeah, I've made it into the inner circle.
That's great. How about you, Isaac?
I don't know if I can remember any real proud moments, I guess. I guess just completing, just anytime I complete anything, I just kind of get a sense of accomplishment and something I know I did good at, and it's just kind of rewarding.
Okay, so let's take mold manufacturing, what you know about it so far. I would imagine coming into it, since you didn't really have much exposure to it, you had preconceived notions, as everybody does. So what is a misconception or myth about the shop, a mold building shop that you have right now, that you busted, that got busted? You were like, wow, it's nothing like what I thought. How about you, Ben? We'll start with you.
Okay. I think it has a lot to do with the amount of it that I thought was overseas. You know, I know there is a big market for it overseas, and when you pick up something and you don't know what goes into making it or what the thoughts were when the idea for it came to fruition, you think, oh, this is just made in China. This was made in China, and a lot of things are, but a lot of things aren't, and a lot of things that aren't are made very well quality wise. And it was kind of mind blowing to see all the different things that I was like, oh, I always thought that was just, you know, a thing that existed, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And I actually, it's very positive what you're saying about being made here, because you're right. A lot of people could think I'm not getting into manufacturing because I am being told by everybody that it's not here anymore. Everything's made elsewhere. So that's a real positive. That's not the case. There's plenty of work, plenty of jobs, and plenty more. If the more people that enter it, the more that we can even grab back from the countries that we've gave it to, right? For a myriad of reasons. Isaac, how about you?
That's one misconception that I thought was going to be, as I was coming into it, was I'd be working on like an assembly line doing the same thing every single day. But with at least the jobs that we do at our shop, it's everything so specific, so different. Everything I've done is so different from the last thing I did. It's really cool, I think.
I have to say it's the stuff that didn't even have any sort of inkling existing before I got into the industry. I always knew that that milling machines were a thing and lathes were a thing. But when I got into this industry, it was the first time I discovered, EDM machine, machines, sinker or wire machines, and then the CMM, measuring machines that can measure to extremely minute, precise measurements, has always been quite amazing to me.
How about you, Isaac?
I have to agree with Ben on the measuring machines. That's really real mind-blowing how precise and interesting that's kind of the tolerances that are held and all that stuff is really cool. Also, the 5-axis machines are really fun to run and stuff. Just to look at all the different ways moving at the same time.
Oh yeah, that is cool. So Isaac, when you think of your day to day, what is the most interesting aspect of the job in a day and why?
Oh, I have no idea about that.
Is there a particular aspect that you're kind of drawn toward where you see yourself going in that direction or not yet?
Not really yet. Right now I do a lot of hand programming and just running the machines, and I really like doing that. So I guess that's just as interesting every day, I guess.
Okay. How about you, Ben?
Most interesting part. Definitely seeing. I really love when I get a blank piece of steel and I'm able to be the step in the process that makes it look that much more like the finished product. I've always found that extremely interesting. The different things that go on, and the ways that the machines work.
Yeah. And how they can take that piece of steel and just transform it, honestly, into something of beauty. Quite honestly.
Yeah.
I always say that we should have this industrial arts competition at our trade show, because even some of those, what you guys would consider scrap, is gorgeous to me. It's like, wow, the metal chips are, right? So it's like, oh my gosh. All right. So how about projects, like customer projects that you've been able to work on? We'll start with you, Ben. What is a project? Maybe it's COVID related, maybe it's not. Like that has taken your breath away or just been like, wow, this was a really cool thing to be a part of?
This question was hard for me because there are so many, and I don't want to steal any from Isaac when I talk first. But just to name like two things, the things that I really like to be able to talk about are the things that everyone walking around the streets, my family, my friends, when I bring it up, they'll be like, oh, I know what that is. It's not a tiny part that's inside of a bigger assembly of pieces. Like we worked on some parts for respirators when COVID first started, and there was also a snap-on screwdriver handle that we worked on, and that was always something that I thought was cool because I could show it to my dad or my grandfather or my buddy that I hang out with and be able to say, look, I know what goes into making this.
Yeah. And so it's identifiable projects, right? That can relate to somebody. Same thing, Isaac?
Yeah, just about the exact same thing. Yeah. We did a lot of work for like K-cups and like caps for Heinz 57 ketchup stuff. So same thing with Ben, just identifying parts and stuff and showing it to people that just saying, hey, I worked on that. It's really cool.
That is cool. All right, so let's segue to workforce development, because I know Robbie, and I know I'm familiar with NCTAPP, and I'm somewhat familiar with the apprenticeship program there, and how, the percentage of young people at Superior is pretty impressive, and the way they work you through and how quickly people get up to speed is pretty impressive. But mentoring is a word that you hear about a lot, and a lot of people look at mentoring as a young person learning from an older person, and it's so much more than that. But I am curious, because Superior seems to be kind of ahead of the game at that. Maybe not formally mentoring, but there's definitely a mentoring nature there. So Ben, how do you define mentoring, and how do you see that happening at Superior?
Mentoring for me it goes beyond just the mold making industry. A great mentor is somebody at the shop here is somebody that I can go to and I can ask about things that, as a younger individual working here at the shop, there are many things outside of just mold making that I have questions about, and I can go ask them that, and then I can also go and ask them things about, different ways to do projects and set up parts, and know that they're going to give me the best knowledge they have, and not try to withhold anything from me for the sake of looking better in the boss's eyes or something like that.
I do like what you said about outside the shop, because I recently just worked with somebody on an article about, or maybe it was another interview, about employees, this next generation coming up really is asking for the employer to treat, and maybe this is just something that sounds like a, I don't know, cliche, but to treat the whole person, right? And I think that's what you're saying, like care about me outside the work, my interests, my struggles, provide some financial classes to employees so they know if this is their first job, right? They know how to learn how to spend their money, invest their money. There's all kinds of ways to help your well-being outside of the skills they need inside the shop. So I think that speaks volumes that you're onto that. How about you, Isaac? Mentoring.
I think Ben hit the nail on the head there. And going back to what you said, the whole investing different money and stuff, I think it's funny you said that a lot of the people around the shop, they tell us from their own experiences of like choices that they've made, if it worked, if it didn't work, and it's just kind of looking out for us and helping us on our path of life and mold making and everything.
Yeah, I love that. So when you look at the industry, what do you, to attract that next generation, more of you guys, what do you think has to change to get this next generation to recognize mold manufacturing as a career, as a valid, fulfilling career choice? Ben?
I think there needs to be an emphasis on the ability that companies and employees and the people that have worked in this industry for a long time have for change. If you're able to adapt and to find new ways that are better, faster, more efficient ways of doing things, and they aren't necessarily the way you've done it for 30, 40 years, you need to be okay with saying, well, that old way worked when it was good. This new way is going to work better, and we need to move in that direction.
Well said. How about you, Isaac?
I think more outreach needs to happen as well, because for me, I mean, I didn't know anything about machining growing up. I didn't know anything about it until late in high school, and it was just happened by chance that the NCTAPP was coming in and speaking at our high school and all that stuff. So I think just more outreach towards different people, because if they didn't go to the high school I didn't go to, they didn't hear the same thing. They don't know that the manufacturing process even exists.
Right.
They just know what.
I know, it's hearsay. They know what they hear on social media, if it's even on there. But what's impressive about what you got involved in is, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Superior was instrumental in NCTAPP. Like, it takes effort on the mold manufacturing industry itself, right, to link up with local organizations and schools. They have to do their part too to get involved, to create ways to attract you guys to come in. And that's exactly what Robbie did.
Yeah, Robbie was one of the very first owners of a company to even suggest this.
Yeah.
They saw a model that worked in Apprenticeship 2000.
Yep, that's it. Yep.
And then they said, let's take that and let's form it into what we need to work here in North Carolina, and let's run with it. Let's get as many companies as we can and just put all of our weight behind this and make it happen, because we know it'll be good in the long run.
Yep. Yep. So Isaac, big question. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
I haven't really given that much thought, but I know after I get my Journeyman certificate, after I finish my apprenticeship, which is, I think I have 1 more year left. After that, my options really open up. But if it comes down to it and I'm in the same place in 5 years, I think I'd be okay with it.
Oh, that's a good comment, because you'll still be learning no matter what, right?
Right, exactly.
How about you, Ben?
Learning, yeah. I'm still learning. Hopefully moving up and developing a better sense of who I am as a person and who I am as a mold maker.
I love it. All right. So my last question. If you were face to face with somebody in high school and you had to sell mold making as a career, I want each of you, we'll start with you, Isaac. What would be your sales pitch to get a kid to come in?
Well, for mold making, for me, it's just a lot of working with my hands, and you don't really get that in a lot of different other industries. So I think if a person really just wants to work with their hands and do it for a job, that's the way to go. Yeah.
Focus on doing, yeah, hands-on. How about you, Ben?
I've answered this question before about NCTAPP, never about mold making in the specific. I would say it definitely is the route that you want to look into if you enjoy working with your hands, if you enjoy watching and learning and experiencing how all of these amazing parts come to be, and if you want to open up, your horizons about just what is out there. As far as manufacturing goes, this is a great stepping stone, or it's a great place to end up in its finale. I don't know if that's probably a bad word to use there, but
yeah, I like that. I like that. I think that's perfect. So I think that about wraps it up. I want to congratulate you two again, and everybody will be able to learn more about them in our June issue, and it will also be online. A lot of content about these 30 under 30 nominees, so check it out. So again, thank you guys for your time. Congrats again. And to everybody out there watching, remember to visit moldmakingtechnology.com for everything mold making. Stay safe and healthy, and most importantly, stay informed and stay inspired.